Hello, 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 and welcome to Shante's Corner, where we are here to encourage, support, and uplift one another. And today we have my sister, Miranda Williams. And before we get started with Miranda and share what God has given her on her heart, we're going to pray in. God, we come humbly before you on today, God, giving you all the praise and all the glory, God, for you are worthy and greatly to be praised. God, we thank you for each and every person that you're bringing to this stage, that you're bringing to this podcast to hear what you have given each and every one of those that have come on to share, God. We just thank you for all you're done and all you're doing. And we give you all the glory and all of the praise in Jesus' name. Ooh.
Amen. Amen.
Ah, man. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. I think I was talking with, when I was talking with Deshawn. I think me and you met before she did, like maybe a year or two. I'm like, it's crazy. So it's been like, what, 12 years maybe?
It has to
Something
have
like
been that
that.
long. Yeah, prior to that, we met at here and there through a convention in Georgia
Hmm.
and yeah,
Yeah.
oh wow.
Might have been
Mm.
longer than that. Might have been 2009 because I can't remember what you at that Dallas. I know,
I
man.
I was I was in
So it's been longer.
Dallas.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yes.
crazy.
Man, the world works in crazy ways.
Oh my gosh, and just think how how far everybody has come since that time.
And that's the blessing of it all, to be able to see the evolution in people that you grew up with. Like, oh my
Yeah,
God, I was in my 20s.
hey girl, me too.
We ain't gonna say what decade we in now, but we,
I'm proud of it. It's a blessing to me because many don't make it, but
can you say thank
a,
you?
a lot of growth has happened since then. Oh my
Yes.
God. It is crazy. We were all young people in the students, yeah, because we were all in GAP students. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Not everybody just employed moms, wives, husbands.
Why? Yes. I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
the situation has changed so differently. And when we were in our younger years, or still young, I don't know,
Yeah.
um, I could not have imagined myself in this position. I did not see um, the greatness of God and that potential at that moment. I was looking at that one tree and couldn't even imagine what a forest would look like, and to see you um just through social media and things of that nature, I was like, Lord, she done left Georgia. I ain't gonna never see this lady again. And just to see all the things that God has been doing in your life through your poetry and your books, and I'm like, I know her.
And the same here. It's like, because neither one of us are in Georgia. No more Georgia girls. We always Georgia girls. But,
Yes.
yeah.
I tell people a lot. They was like, "Oh, where you from?" I'm like, "I'm an original Georgia peach. I'm just transplanted here to begin
Yeah.
my own peach orchard, but it's always Georgia gonna hold my heart."
Georgia will always be a Georgia girl. And it's funny because living in California, I was there 8 years almost, and they still like, you still have a Georgia accent. I still
Mhm.
get that even now being in Texas. And
Mhm.
I tell people, God is funny because I had no intentions on living in California or Texas. And, but when you tell God, send me, I'll go, you go where he sends you. So,
Honey, you better say that, cause coming from a family that doesn't even know anything about any type of public transportation except for a car and MTA or mobility services, I never would have thought I would have been seeing planes, trains, and submarines and
Right.
subways and things. I'm like, Lord, I come from red clay and wheat fields and peas and where all this stuff come from.
Right. And girl, because we come from little towns where we had to ask somebody to give us a ride. So
Yes.
if they ain't want to take us, we couldn't go.
We was and not to mention if you were married or engaged, you couldn't have no date night because your transportation ended at 5.
Okay, girl. Shoot. Crazy.
Oh my God! But it's just such a blessing just to watch God manifest in our lives if we just sit back
Yes.
and let Him lead. And I have been doing that um pretty much all my life related to just me as an individual and being blind. And I know a lot of us say the walking by faith and not by sight. And for me, it's not just a cliche, like it is so real.
Live it.
I was like, that's a life
Live
to
it.
live, and
Hmm.
just to walk where God tells me to walk, and in His process, knowing that there'll be struggles and trials and tribulations, and life just be life, and
Like,
but
oh, girl. Right.
yes, we
Ah,
walk
people.
with Him.
Oh my gosh. And it's crazy. Like, even um like I tell people, like you go through stuff, but you don't realize how it affects you. And then
Mhm.
having to go back and unlearn what you learned.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. It's, man, life be life.
It's the unlearning part. I don't know if you know, but I have my master's from Morgan State University in mental and behavioral health, and that's one of the things that I do as a rehabilitation counselor, as a mental health peer supporter. Is
Mhm.
I try to help individuals unlearn those behaviors that
Behavior.
you done learned your
Gosh.
whole entire life. And it's
Like,
a process, and people think I'm a
yes.
miracle worker. And I was like, that's not what social workers do. We help guide you to
Yes.
you make your own decisions, but we help guide you. And I was like, oh my
Yes.
God.
And it's so funny you said, because I didn't know that's what you were, but that's what I was going to school for
Hmm.
psychology,
Oh
and I had
wow.
to switch. I had to switch to sociology because at that point I could not handling somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, guys, like, nope, you can't do that. You help people, in a different way. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're trying to help somebody, and it's being that we're kind of compassionate people
Mm-hmm.
anyway, you take on, and especially, because I been in customer service for the last 13 years, and
Mm-hmm.
now I have a lot of clients that I can't help, and it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing, you want to help. I recognize at a young age that my gift that the Lord bestowed upon me is the gift of service. That's my love language. That's my top love language. Is I'm a server first. I'm a server to my God, my community, my family, and all of this stuff. And now I'm a server to the community at large. And it's just, oh my God, that's the catch 22, being able to
uh,
understand how not to internalize and take
yes,
other people's problems onto yourself, and being,
yes,
like you said, empathetic and passionate and compassionate. You want to help everybody. Like, no, 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 don't do this. But you, as a professional and as a friend, we have to let them lead themselves. They have their own
yes,
autonomy, but it's just so hard when you
yes.
see the potential and someone else doesn't and recognize their own potential. And that's one of the things that I got from you when I met you through the mentoring program, and just seeing you live your life. And it's like, God, having someone else live the life that I want to live. Not so much that you I wanted to walk entirely in your shoes and take the
Hmm.
path that you were taking, but you always had a smile on your face. Your personality was always upbeat and bubbly. And I was like, oh, I like
Oh man, it is crazy, like to hear that now and knowing even during that time, like I was really in a depressed state, and
Mhm.
especially, in our community, it
Mhm.
was kind of shunned upon. So
It
even
was.
here in the mental health field, is like yay, and
Mhm.
I'm so glad that it started to be talked about, because that's
Mhm.
how we overcome it, and we know that when we don't discuss things, that's how the enemy attacks us, because
Mhm.
nobody knows what you're going through.
No.
But when you put it out there, like, hey, I'm
Mhm.
struggling here, help, then you can deal with it. And that's so
Mhm.
necessary. And, that's what meeting individuals who are blind, because I grew up in a little country town where I was the only
Mhm.
person who was blind. And so meeting people in the NFB who were successful lawyers and just anything you could think of, it just blew my mind.
It it
it uh,
it it not only blows your mind, it gives you a whole
yes.
another perspective. Cause honey, coming from a family who's predominantly blind, everybody they might have sight, but at the baseline, everybody in my family, as far as my immediate family, was blind. And my mama, daddy, uncle, all of them had them went to the academy, but they had no sense of identity related to their blindness. And being the one who was marked as totally blind, I'm fighting for my independence, and I'm
Oh,
sinking into depression, and I've gotten through high school like I'm an adult, people telling me I can't do this, I can't do this, can't go to work, can't go to school, not smart enough, and running into Stencil Tootle, that
yep.
man and his mentorship and his family taking me in and showing me the NFB, and running into all of you other blind professionals, and especially you because you were around my age, and I was like, okay, it's just not for old people.
Right. And like I say, just seeing a Neil, like meeting a Neil for the first
Yes.
time, it was like, oh my gosh, these people are really doing stuff. Like,
Mhm.
it was like, man, okay, and like I love my family, but it's stagnant when you don't have people
Mhm.
who are trying to do something different.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
I
so
hear you.
even being in California, my California family always says God kicked me out of Georgia. And it's not that because I love Georgia. Georgia's always gonna be, I'm always be a
Mhm.
Georgia girl. But in order to do what he needed me to do and go
Mhm.
to places he needed me to go, I had to leave Georgia just like you did.
Mhm. And it's crazy because when you grow up in a family, and you learn one way, but when God gives you the heart to say, this is not enough. I know this is not enough. And you're quote unquote bucking the system related to your
Mhm.
family culture, and you leaving, and oh, you blind, and you this and you that, and ain't nobody gonna be up there to help you, and
Right.
all of this other stuff. They put that fear, that scare tactic in your mind, and then it just changes the situation on another end, just to follow God and see those mentors and see these powerhouses walking out with their canes and being lawyers and Mr. Neal and all of this other stuff. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. My first person who told me that I was gonna make a teacher out of myself, was a teacher at the Georgia Academy for the Blind, Alice Ridgway. She was my favorite teacher. I'll never forget it. And the only reason why I decided to be a teacher is because that lady like, you're already teaching people, so you need to go ahead and make it your profession. You'll be great at it. I was like, not little on me. Hmm. Little did I know what God said it is.
Right. Right. And it's like, man, you would never think, because, like, I'm pretty sure you've had some experience too where I've had teachers told me, she told me I wasn't smart enough for college. I wasn't smart enough. I couldn't live on my own. And the way those things always work for me. You told me I can't do it, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do it.
Yes, ma'am. I play that song now. What is? Oh my God, Tasha Page Lockhart. Why not me?
Oh,
Tell me I'm not finna. I
that's
can't do or
oh,
honey.
that is my song, man. Why not me?
Yeah, exactly. He 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 chose you for a reason.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we see, and that's what I love too about, meeting people in the blind community because I remember I always one that, did it unconsciously. I held my head down all the time and, being around totally blind people, they can tell when you're talking down and not
Right.
not talking out, and that, like, to me, I'm like, okay, so then I became aware of it, and just little things like that like make a huge difference. Like, you're like, wow, I never
It
thought of
does.
that.
It does. It's just amazing what God shows you at the moment that you need to be shown it. So I'm a firm believer He will provide it when it needs to be provided. And it's like things happen at that moment that move into the next moment, and it's by divine.
Hmm. Yep. And so, even just speaking about, leaving Georgia and living in Baltimore now, how is that experience different?
It was a whole culture shock. When I tell you they took this country pumpkin out of rolling grass and four seasons in one day to concrete rude people.
Oh, good.
Look, I'm living up here and I said I should have lost a lot of weight because I'm not really a crab and person up here, and that's all Maryland is known for, is crabs and stuff. And I'm like, Jesus, that's way too much work to try to get this little piece of meat. I'm not breaking a nail for this, Jesus. I'm not. I need my food to be already deshelled, and I don't need to work to eat, Lord. I'm just saying. But in generally, it's crazy up here. The people's disposition are is really different, like up here. Um, but they're more acceptable of people with disabilities and job wise. Up here, I have more freedom related to transportation,
Hmm.
more activities to do, more opportunities to become a part of the community. I have found a church home up here. I am one of the praise and worship leaders, singers here. I graduated from Morgan twice consecutively in 2021 and 2022,
All right.
both with a degree in social work with my bachelor's, and then my master's I did in an advanced standing 1 year program in 2022. Was able to find a job right out of graduation, so I'm grateful for that. Um, but all in all, I think I'm beginning to put roots in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did move up here with my husband, but unfortunately, we decided to get a divorce. Nothing here, nothing there. It is what it is. Um, so now I'm here alone without that family, going back to that family aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going back to that God has not told me to move yet.
Right. And that's what I was gonna ask you too. Like, once did you ever think about going back? Or, like, um, after that situation ended, did you
I
think?
That was the first thing on my mind. Like, you know what? I'm going back home. It wasn't going back home to my mama, but I was just going back home.
And I asked that because I experienced the same thing when my job ended in California due to the
Hmm.
pandemic. And it's like even when you mention that too, like I'm thinking like in California they were so much, like I said earlier, it was needed for where God was taking us because we had
Mhm.
to learn that people were accepting of people with disabilities. Like
Right.
it's not even looked at the same way at all
Right.
compared to where we're from. But
Mhm.
being out in an environment like you said where nobody knows you, and the first thing I was thinking of was, oh, I'm going back to Georgia. I'm
Mhm.
comfortable, get back in that comfortable zone. And then what happens is, my friend met some people here, and we came to visit Houston because I didn't like. Sorry, Dallas people, but I wasn't a fan of Dallas, so I was like, I
Mhm.
don't want to live in Texas. And then the first
Mhm.
thing they asked us, y'all moving to Houston? And we like, what the heck? And next thing you know, in a couple of months, I was moving to Houston. Like,
Mm.
okay, God, but and it's so that we wouldn't fall back into, because once I went back and visited home where I grew up, I knew I couldn't go there.
Right. And that's
It,
the same for me. Nothing is the same in Georgia. And I wasn't expecting it to be the same. Um, my mother moves a good little bit, and my aunt, she moved. And then my favorite cousin, she got married and moved down to Florida because I was only really going back to be with my family because I was like,
mm-hmm,
not being I moved out of my mom's house when I was 19 years old. As a matter of fact, the same day I graduated from high school on May 21st, 2024, I moved
mm,
into my apartment that same night. So I haven't lived with
I
my family in since I was
remember you.
like, ma'am.
I remember you telling me that. I remember.
Exactly. And so, being away from my family has never been a major thing for me until lately because like I miss my nieces and nephews growing up because my brother
Mm-hmm.
passed in 2019, right before the pandemic hit, and I was like, God, I gotta go home to take care of them. I was like, well, since
Right.
this divorce happened, I can go home and get my nieces and nephew because my nephew is blind and he's not getting the right training. And I was like, I'm helping everybody else. I need to go help my family. But those are the hardest people to help.
Yes. Yes. Because they
And
think they know you.
yes. And I had to realize I can't do for them.
Mm-hmm. You
And I
can't.
tried, even after my divorce, like I was, I'm not ashamed to say it, I was homeless for a couple of months. And my thought was, go home, go
Mm-hmm.
home. And I was like, I got a friend in Georgia, got a fair 5 bedroom
Right.
house. I could go home and I could find a job there. But
Mm-hmm. It's
as
like I really got a place
soon,
to go.
yep, I know I got a place to go. But then I was like, as soon as I said, okay, I'm packing up and I'm going home, they called me as I signed the divorce paper at 7:45 p.m. on a Monday night. God, this job called
Good.
me at 7:45 a.m. I said, look at God.
Okay, God. Say, no, don't you do it. Don't
And won't he do it? Okay, God, let me stay on the couch a little bit longer.
you? Yeah. And it's crazy because, I went back home in 2021, so I was able
Hmm.
to spend my 40th. I'm proud to say, but I spent my 40th with my grandmother, and
Oh.
I am so glad I did that because right after she got dementia,
Mm.
and it's really hard for me because now she won't even, speak to me.
Right. Hmm.
And she's the one that pretty much raised me. So it's like
Right.
that's like the only solace that I have. And it was
Right.
like one of my poems that I ended up writing in my book I released this year called She
Hmm.
Doesn't Remember. And
Hmm.
yesterday was her birthday. And so I couldn't even like talk to her. I had to text my aunt, which is, but I say, God, you are good because, with her being older, it's a way to prepare me
Right.
for that transition before it completely happens.
Right.
Because if I would have been as close to her as I had been when I was younger, that
Hmm.
probably would have, you know, but
Whew.
so
It
yeah.
just
like I really know can't go back.
Yeah, and it's just something about them grandmas. Once them grandmas go and leave, in a sense, it's like that soul tied to the family is
Yeah.
gone. And my grandmother unfortunately passed away in 2013, and her birthday was October the 9th, and we still crying and boo-hooing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? What do I have to go back to Georgia for? I mean, the rest of my family is there, but they're living their lives and they're
They
moving forward
life.
and doing whatever they're gonna do. Like I don't, I've been gone too long to just try to
Yeah. It
insert my.
wouldn't be the same. Like,
Yeah, it wouldn't
it,
be.
yeah. Cause I'm like you too. Like my cousin, we are a week apart. I went home and I found out she'd been married for 3 years, and I had no idea. Like I knew she
Mm,
was somebody, but I did not know. I'm like, what you mean?
exactly. You miss all those monumental occasions. Like I got a cousin, who my my first cousin's children, they're twins. One is in nursing school and the other one is the army, and he got records and CDs and this
Yeah.
famous rapper out. I was like, hold on, I got a famous. You mean the little baby that I gave a bath to? When did this happen?
And like one of my young cousins, I just found out on Facebook, him and his wife was expecting a baby. I'm like, when did he get married? Baby,
If it wasn't for social media, we would not have any connection.
girl.
Because I'm like, can y'all slow down? All my cousins and stuff that I was combing their hair and chasing them back and all of this stuff, I'm grown up and got kids and
Mhm.
degrees and jobs. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on,
Uh,
how I mean, y'all were two when I left. What happened?
right. And it's like, even for me, like, because God took me off social media for almost a year, which was easy at
Mm-hmm.
that time. But, I was able to get back on for my business and then just to keep up with family because it's the only way
Mm-hmm.
to know what's going on. And you, like, oh my goodness.
And it's sad, and because the only time, well, I ain't gonna say the only time. Me and my favorite cousin, we talk a lot, but majority of the time when she calls, it's to give me some bad news. Like I got a call out the blue from her last night, and I was like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
She's like, "They just found Auntie in the house. She had a stroke." I'm like, what? She's like,
Yeah.
"Ain't nobody called and told you. You
Tell
know,
me.
you the only reason somebody called you."
Right. And that's just like one of my uncles that passed, like my cousin called. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I ain't seen him in years, but it brought me back
Mm-hmm.
to being that little kid that was when the last time I saw him. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh. Yeah, people. Things are different now, though. Like the family connections are not the same. Like, but
Mm-mm.
like you said, when we had Big Mom and Grandpa, like everybody's doing
Mm-hmm.
their own thing now. Like, and my grandmother and my great aunt was the one that did all the cooking. So
Yep.
my grandma can't even cook anymore now. So it's like, yeah, it's not the
And
same.
and that's how it is now. My aunt, she can cook up some hard food, but she's not a light cooker.
Mm,
Um, she and I are the family cookers now. And when my aunt leaves, it's gonna be me. Like they are, I was like, ooh, Jesus, because I was the oldest granddaughter that was
uh-huh.
in the house. And so I was the one that was in the kitchen helping grandma chop up onions and bell peppers and picking up tips and tricks and making a family dress. And like, if my aunt leaves, I'm the only one who would have my grandmother's dressing recipe.
Wow.
And my grandma had a plethora of granddaughters.
Uh, Yeah, that's what I'm mad about myself that I didn't learn all that stuff from, and even like the family stories. Like I wish I could have wrote
Hmm.
stuff down because it's vague memories. Like the ones that are younger than us don't even know those stories.
Child. It's not even a point of the story that we there's a large gap because we're missing a lot of it. You
Yeah,
know that because we're not there, and well, I'm not there, and I'm generalizing for the both of us. But we're gonna. I got relatives, kin people, kin folk, as we call them. I've never even seen, don't
never.
know, don't even know who you're associated with.
Right,
Like,
right.
I
Especially babies. And it's
right.
even when I went back, because I had been gone like almost 10 years, I was showing my cousins because they didn't remember me. I was showing them baby pictures of me and them because they was like, I don't remember you. You don't got no pictures of me. And I was like, here you go, because they didn't even remember who I was.
And see, I don't have any pictures. I was, like I said, I left when I was 19. So
Hmm.
I missed a lot. I've been home, but it's never been to stay or to visit,
Yeah.
except for when I got hit by the car. But even then, I only stayed there 3 months before I was able
All right.
to walk and leave to go to. So I don't know. But my prayer is that God allows me to be there when I need to be there, and that my presence on social media is attracting the cousins and stuff, and they're on it from both sides. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
fortunately,
Yeah.
from my paternal and maternal grandmothers, they both passed, and so trying to connect with family has just been hard as
Yeah.
a person who desires more out of their life, and you have your family who they're so comfortable with where they are, they've never moved, they've never
Visit.
experienced anything outside of Georgia.
Hmm.
Like, I've
Right.
never had my mom visit any living location I've been in since I moved out when I was 19 years old.
And that's one thing I can say. My mom would go. She moved to Georgia a little bit after I did. Not Georgia City, but she moved
California.
to California, like, because she helped me move, and then she moved, and then my sister moved to California. So now my sister's in VA, but my mom went back to Georgia. But
Mm.
as we begin to wrap up, you are a business owner, so I do want you to tell them about what you do in your business.
Well, I am a pseudo former business owner. Um, I started in 2008 a business. I registered, not 2008, 2020, sorry, a business called Inspire Consulting. Inspire is INSPEYERE. And that was a business that was geared to helping older individuals adjust to their blindness. As I have a master's degree in gerontology, working with anyone over the age of 55, and I recognize the deficit here in Baltimore, where there are a lot of um, individuals who are going blind from macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, and they're older and they're being removed out of their home, placed in the nursing home, or made to be treated like children when there's no need for it because they're just blind. And so I developed my business to go into these individuals' home and train them on whatever they needed to be trained on so they could be independent and still remain in their home without being having that detachment on top of everything else. And I began working at business right after I graduated with my master's degree, and I stayed in that position and had a caseload of about 120 individuals that
Wow.
were completed as of June. As of June 2nd of this year, because I was doing a really good job, and the government saw that, and they decided to pull me full time. And the individual called me on a night, and she was like, "This position is open, and I want you to come work for us full time. I can't stop. People are raving about you, and it's just so amazing that we have someone in the community coming to." I was like, "But I want my people." So God is works in mysterious ways because
Hmm.
my caseload was able to transfer over, and I picked up more, but I still had my same individuals until they were completed. And I just thank God that people saw the light in me and understood that I can do what I needed to do. So Inspire now is more so a brand, but we have picked up a new project that I'm doing slowly but surely. I own icy canes. And so Icy Canes is just me bedazzling very classy canes for the woman who wants to have a cane to match their personality. And it came from I wanted to go to a formal event up here, and I was like, I don't want this cane. It's just plain white. I need something that's gonna rock my dress. So I started bedazzling canes, and then I took the idea to another friend of mine who helps me, and we fine tuned it. And now Inspire does icy canes.
Yeah, because I was telling Dushan about it. I was like, yeah, you got to talk to Miranda because she always, she fuss at me about not using my cane. So I was like, yeah, you
That
have to check
part.
Miranda out with her bedazzled canes.
Yes, yeah. Icy canes is rocking it. I have several blind models who are carrying my cane, models who've done pageants. The owner of Eyes Like Mine has our Icy King, and they've been getting a lot of notoriety. It came about when I did mm, uh, a day to be inspired at Morgan State University for Blindness Awareness Month, and that's when I did my first bedazzled cane, and then people were loving it so much, I just kept doing it. And I was like, "Ah, let me turn this into a little busy, you know."
Right.
So that's what happened with that.
Yeah.
So Icy Canes is on Facebook. It's spelled how it sounds. ICYCANES. It's on Facebook right now. We will be putting out a actual web page for people to call and order. But if you want to place orders now, you can just simply give me a call at 410. I forgot my own number, Lord.
It happens. Hey.
I don't call
Right.
myself.
Exactly.
Well, in general, you can just give me a call at 478-228-9800. Again, 478-228-9800 for an icy cane. And I am complete.
Yeah, and I was like, that's what she did. I was like, I didn't even have to ask a question how the people can find you. So, you guys, that's Miss Miranda Williams, my awesome friend. And so, as we get ready to say goodbye to you all, as I always leave you with, let your words speak. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.
You stop.